My name is Linda Melvin, and I am going to show you today about fluid watercolors. I developed this a long time ago, and just lately I found some new things to use with it, and I think this is going to be fun. What I use is Delusions ink spray, and I use the Radiant Watercolors from Dr. P.H. Martin. He also has two other kinds. He has the Hydrus and the Indian inks, which we'll talk about. Each one has its own properties. The India inks can't move, but all of the others do, and so that's something nice to know, but their whites are really great. So let's get started. I always use a towel. I like to use a towel because it makes it so much simpler. You can let the water go wherever you want it to. So I just come in and I pour water over it. And I want the water to get on the towel because there are processes where the inside dries and it pulls from the out. And then there are processes where the outside dries and it pulls from within, which makes everything move. So I like to make it really good and wet. That's what makes the paint flow. So then the most exciting part of the whole thing is when you start spraying. And these are the Delusion sprays. This color happens to be, don't you just love it, After Midnight. Now look at how it moves. It moves and it's kind of uncontrollable, but we don't really care, do we? The next one I'm going to use is called Jade. And then I'll come in with Vibrant Turquoise, which is just great. But these aren't the only things we use. Beside that, we're going to come in and start to use the Dr. P.H. Martins. Now these are the ones that are fluid watercolors. They're very strong, they're very vibrant, they also move. Everything is sort of uncontrollable until you get a handle on it and you start working with it yourself. I'm going to put some purples in, some turquoise in. And I always like to say, I like my pieces to have a heart. So it's really a focal point, but I call it a heart because I feel like the movement feels like it's pulsating. And what you do to make it happen makes all the difference. So there are other things that we also use. I'll be using gauze. And the gauze that we put on doesn't necessarily stay on. We put it on, and if we haven't used any of the India inks, we can take it off. Once you use the India inks, they're pretty much there and you have to enhance. So I'm going to come in, I am going to drop some white India ink. And look at how great, look at how it moves. But it doesn't just move by that small amount, you have to use more water. So I have a spray bottle, which is another thing you're going to need. And I use eyedroppers. Look at the beautiful color and how they're moving. And you can guide by just pushing down. Look at how it moves. And over here, I just love it. So this is the basics of the beginning. So we're going to go ahead, we'll start to put on not only the gauze, but we can put on saran wrap, wax paper, anything that will give us texture, because texture is the most important thing that you have. That's what makes everything go, except for the fact you have to have a focal point and you have to have three values. Are there three values in here? If there aren't, then you come back in and you add other colors. But I really like the way this looks. So the next thing that we can do, there are two kinds of salt I like. I like rock salt, and I like just a little bit heavier coarse salt. You have to watch it until it hasn't lost its sheen yet, but it's just to the point that it's almost there. So then we're going to come in, and where we want to put in some texture and guide the eye. What we're doing, is guiding the eye. Put it in 3 different places. What fun. And if I wanted to right now, I could add more salt in other places. Maybe one more. I can't help myself. Now I'm going to come in with the gauze. Oh, this is the best part of all. If you look at the gauze, I've taken it, and sometimes they want to call this cheesecloth that you get at the grocery store. So I'm going to come into points where I like it emphasized, and I'm going to lay down the gauze. And I like to do it in 3 or 5 places. I think 3 is really the best. And I like to bring it in different directions. Now, we never want to take it out to the points, you know, out there to the corners. That's not good. You want to keep the eye moving. And sometimes even the little strands make it so interesting. One more. And it's okay that I put it over the top of the salt, isn't it? So I have pretty much made my fundamental area right in here. Now, can I go back in if I want to over the top of this and make it darker? You betcha. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to take this. So when I come back in later, it's going to completely change the whole thing. You can draw the eye out. You can just pull it this way. You can bring it around right now if you want to. If you scar the paper, it will come in. But right now, maybe I don't like it that way that much. I want it to bleed a little bit more. So there it goes. It's bleeding. So right now we have a really nice fundamental area that is a good place to start. When we come back, though, in after this is dried, and it takes a while for this to dry, it will look nothing like this. Look at how this is all moving. And during the time when it is drying, what's going to happen is it's going to start to dry, and there's wet out here on the edge, and the wet is going to pull in. But if something happens and it dries out here, then it'll pull out. So you're going to have one or the other happen. It's always a surprise, but when you come back, needless to say, you're going to have something wonderful to work with. Now, it's always my suggestion, don't wear something wonderful to do this with because it will be ruined. These things are very, very bright and beautiful. And my hands always look the same no matter where I'm going. They always look the same. They always have a lot of stuff on them. So I hope you enjoyed the little video. We're going to have another one next, and I'm going to show you how you can come back in and you can enhance this piece and turn it into something you'll want to hang in your home. I hope you have a great day.